My name's ArtJohn and I'm an artist.
And this is my art studio, which is in a brilliant building called the Art House, which is in the centre of Wakefield.
Now, my art studio is a place where I come to play with ideas and to experiment with new ways of making things, without the fear of making mistakes or even worrying if the thing will work in the first place. And you know, that's a really important attitude for artists to have, because that open-minded thinking and that willingness to give things a go is what helps artists create artwork which is interesting and exciting and unusual.
Now, I like making all kinds of art, but my favourite type of art to make is sculpture. And the great thing about sculpture is that it can be made indoors or outdoors, and that's really important because sculpture is a 3D art form and we experience the world in 3 dimensions, and everything around us will have shape and form and texture and weight, and artists like to play with those things. And one of the ways that we can do this is by creating an assemblage sculpture. An assemblage sculpture is a sculpture that's made up of things that already exist, the kind of things that you might find around you. We can collect different items and then arrange them in interesting ways to create our own sculpture. But it's really important to remember that if we're collecting from nature, we only use items that have already fallen. We don't pick things off trees or break things that are still alive. Assembling your sculpture is going to take some resilience. You'll find that it falls down, or just before you get it right, it will topple. But that's the joy. You get to rebuild it over and over again until it just works. Try to give yourself little challenges, like thinking about weight and balance. Can you make your sculpture seem almost impossible by balancing the heaviest objects, or by making your sculpture stand really tall? And just like in nature, nothing lasts forever. So once you're finished with your sculptures, remember to disassemble them and place the objects back where you found them. But if you want to keep a memory of the sculptures you made, you can always use your school camera to take a photograph. And if you don't have access to one, why not draw your sculpture in your sketchbook? Another way that we can make sculpture outdoors is to think about order. Nature is full of order and patterns, but sometimes it's a little bit hard to see them. But artists can create their own order and patterns using found natural materials. And it's these patterns that help frame the landscape around them. You can order things through shape or size or colour or type, and your challenge is to create a pattern or an order out of the materials that you can find around you, and your gallery is the space that you are in. And this is probably a good activity to do with a partner or within a small team. Here I used acorns to mark this small hidden tree nook. And for this pattern, I wanted to create an echo of the fallen tree. Your pattern can be whatever you like. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's all about taking notice of what's around you and having a play and seeing what you can create. Now, another way of making art outdoors is to join sticks together to make 3D geometric sculptures. And it's not as hard as you think, especially if you're supporting each other by working in pairs. Have a look around and collect some sticks. You'll want them to be roughly the same size and thickness. You can then use wool or string to bind the ends of the sticks together. Twist and wrap the wool in and around the 2 sticks so that they are held in place nice and tight. Use this method to create simple shapes such as squares or triangles. So now your challenge is to attach more sticks to your 2D shape so that it becomes a 3D form. There are loads of possibilities of what your sculpture might look like, and if it doesn't work the first time, don't worry. Give it another go and just make a few small changes. You could even use natural objects from around you to create a sculptural mobile. And when finished, perhaps you can hang your sculptures in your classroom back at school. Enjoy making your sculptures. See you later. Come on, you see.